From the 5-inch Jakks Sonic the Hedgehog line, this is Metal Sonic 3.0. I'll be honest, I had no idea who this was at first. When I first saw him, I actually thought this was supposed to be Shard from the Archie comics. For anyone who doesn't know, Shard was a character who was basically, like Metal Sonic had been captured by the Freedom Fighters and given free will and he became a good guy. It was actually pretty interesting. I liked that direction for Metal Sonic. However, this is actually from something called Sonic Speed Simulator, I think, in which it's just a Metal Sonic recolor that you would get if you played as Metal Sonic, so that you wouldn't have to have two Metal Sonics at one point at one time. That's more background than you get on the back of the box. On the back of the box, it literally just says, identical to Metal Sonic, but with a fresh coat of paint. Metal Sonic 3.0 is one of the most powerful robots in the world. Yeah. There's apparently something to do with Eggman Nega here, which I don't even know who that is. So, hey, it's a new Metal Sonic. Let's open it up. Getting this guy out of the box, there is a lot to like here. The big thing is he just looks so good. This black and yellow paint scheme mixed with this kind of softer gray gives you a wonderful color palette. This figure is going to really stand out on your shelf just in terms of appearances. That said, he doesn't feel all that great. His limbs are incredibly thin, which means his joints are incredibly fragile. Even moving around as I am now, trying to be very gentle, I can feel the joints getting stressed. And you can see right here on the hip, it doesn't want to bulge. It's literally going to rip itself out of the hip before it wants to come out. Speaking of which, let me just show you this. This happened just from me trying to get it out of the box. That's not a good sign. At the very least, it didn't actually break itself, it just popped out, but I can already see stress marks coming to the figure. Just like the original Metal Sonic, it's a figure that looks good. It does look good, but it doesn't do much else. Alongside that, the articulation points you have here aren't great. You have a swivel at the head, yes. You have a universal at the shoulder, but it's impaired. And then you have elbow joints. The one on the right arm is fine, right? Boring, but sure. Then you have this gorilla arm, and you can kind of cheat it, get it more like this or this, but that's going to wear the joint out. I don't know why they can't just give you an uppercut rotation. It looks like there should be one here, but there isn't. So the arm is always going to be just a bit strange. Then you have the hands are fine, and then you have universals down here at the hips, but again, sometimes they don't want to play. You have knee joints, very deep, but they feel very loose already. And you have a ball joint down there at the foot. So this is a figure that you're going to have to find a couple good poses for. He's not going to be great for play, not for very long at the very least. At least he looks good. That's the best I can say about this guy, is he does look good. Putting him alongside the original Metal Sonic, I am surprised that there are some differences. For one, they have different hands. Metal Sonic's hands were originally kind of splayed out. Metal Sonic 3.0 has more like fists. Alongside that, the torso is ever so slightly different. So they did give him a new piece here in the center. The heads are the same, the legs are the same. The arms, aside from the hands, are the same. But they did change the torso. So this guy isn't a completely straight repaint. They gave him some new, slightly different pieces to give him a little bit of a unique flavor from his older brother Metal Sonic. Again, this really just kind of puts me in the mind of Shard. I know that this isn't Shard. I know it's not Shard. But the color scheme is so similar, and there are enough tiny differences, that I kind of want to convince myself that it is Shard, just to kind of give myself another reason to like this figure, because I really want to like this figure. But like the original Metal Sonic, it just feels a bit impaired. Pulling in modern Dr. Eggman as well, these three look really good together. I like this a lot, actually. Just like the Metal Sonics, Eggman is a figure that looks good, doesn't really play all that well, but they are making a pretty impressive lineup. And if we want to toss in just a couple more characters, why don't we put in our modern Sonic, dupe, right here, and our modern Shadow. And yeah, a thing I'll say is, just like some of these other figures, the joints don't feel great, sometimes the posability is lacking, but these Jakks figures do look very, very good. And if you just want a nice looking shelf, there's some of the best options for these characters. And for someone like Metal Sonic 3.0, this is probably the only figure he's ever going to get. So, at the very least, it's not like a total train wreck disaster. It is a good toy. It just has some pretty major issues that you have to be aware of. Overall, though, I'm happy I picked him up. I'm happy he's here. I'm happy that if there's any real major Metal Sonic or Shard fans out there, they have an option now. For me, he's probably just going to be closer to the back of the shelf. Even still, happy to have him.